Hey friends. So most of us really have no idea where our food comes from. We go to the grocery store, it's cellophane wrapped, we take it home, we don't think about it. So when I heard about this place that's doing all pasture raised pork, chicken, lamb, and beef, we had to go check it out. Let's go look at Primal Pastures. Hey friends, I'm Jake Shoemate, and I'm all about living a healthy life. That means eating delicious, locally sourced food, chasing adventure, all while caring for the planet. Living in Southern California, we have a ton of opportunity to do all three. Several years ago, I was able to fulfill a lifelong dream, and I bought a 1973 Volkswagen bus. She'd been living in a barn in Montana and needed a little bit of love. She's our key to adventure as we travel around and visit all these great places. I call her the Joy Bus. I'd like to introduce you to some amazing destinations and hopefully inspire you to seek out this kind of life wherever you are. Come along with me and see where the Joy Bus will take us today on Joy Bus Journeys. Rob, this doesn't get much better than this. The bus and the pasture, surrounded by the dogs and the pigs. Just thanks so much for having us. But love to hear, tell us your story. How did you go from your previous life to being a farmer, a rancher, raising animals?
Yeah, so it all started in spring of 2012. My brothers and my dad and I, we were sitting around talking. We had all kind of come to this fork in the road with different health issues concerning about our weight, our aches, our pain, just typical things that a 20-something-year-old doesn't deal with normally. So we really started looking into the way we ate, what we were eating, and how we were eating. And we realized that all these labels that are out there, all these organic, grass-fed, free-range, cage-free, were things we were paying extra for that didn't really mean anything. So essentially, we came to the decision as a family. We were sitting around at Easter in 2012, and we said, well, we've got a couple acres here. Why don't we just raise our own chickens? So I took that as we were going to raise our own chickens, went to the other room, ordered 50 chicks online, and came out and told them that we had 2 weeks to get ready, and everybody was shocked. They thought I was crazy. These are our egg layers. These are the lucky ladies.
All right, well, let's go in and check out the lucky ladies, the egg layers. So one of the things that you guys will notice in here is there's no floor. So why is there no floor in this chicken coop?
Every single day we move this coop to fresh pasture. So it allows the chickens to be protected from the elements and predators, but at the same time access to the outdoors where they have fresh grass every single day. They can pick, scratch, and express that chickenness of the chicken we talked about.
So tell me about it. So they're hanging out in here. Now where do they lay the eggs?
So if you look over here, we have our nest boxes. And in the nest boxes, it's sloped down so the chickens will go inside, lay their eggs, and they roll down here. And every morning we'll collect the eggs before we move the coops, just to keep the eggs from cracking.
So let's take a look. Let's see, somebody's in here. Sorry to interrupt.
We've got the privacy curtains.
Yes, right. Hello, ladies.
Come here. There you go. Yeah, and you can see his brown earlobes right here. It's going to be a brown egg layer.
So you lay some brown eggs.
Yeah.
Say hi. Say hi to the viewers out there, friends. You're going to be famous. Famous chicken. I do have a chicken at the beach one time, so maybe I'll introduce you. So let's take a look. Let's see how many eggs we have in here.
So we just collected eggs this morning.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It looks like we've already got almost a dozen in there already. That's liquid gold on the inside of those.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
The overall nutrition aspect is exponentially better in our eggs. And then the flavor and taste, I might be a little biased, but most of our customers would agree. And when you manage a chicken appropriately and raise them the way they're supposed to raise, the benefits it has on the environment are exponentially better.
So now that you guys have raised the chickens, and obviously you guys know what you're doing now, I mean, tell me about your health. How has raising your own livestock, how has it changed you as an individual?
We started noticing a huge difference when we focused more on the paleo diet, cutting out a lot of breads, grains, pastas, wheats like that, focusing on a more real food, whole foods type of diet, combined with the way that we were raising our meat. And overall, the arthritis went away, the bloating, the gut rot, all of that just went away.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, I mean, there is a lot of labels out there that, like, let's talk about eggs, for example, that, can you help us understand what are all those terms mean when it comes to eggs?
So a majority of chickens in the US up until the last year or two were raised inside in these giant grow houses, 3 or 4 chickens in a 2-foot by 1-foot cage, and that's how eggs were raised. So people started catching wind that that's how their eggs were raised, and they started protesting that these chickens were raised in cages. So then that brought rise to the cage-free chicken. So you still have them inside, you still have them smashed on top of each other in these giant grow houses, they're just not in cages, and you're getting cage-free chickens. From there, you take that same grow house, and you go to the very end of it, and you cut a little 4-foot by 4-foot door out at the end, open it to a concrete pad, and you give those chickens access to the outside. You've now created a free-range chicken. Now, it may be 110 degrees outside, and the chickens are in an air-conditioned warehouse where they'll never want to go outside, but they have access to the outdoors. So you've just paid an extra $1 per egg or $1 per carton for your free-range, cage-free chicken. To go from your cage-free, free-range chicken to an organic cage-free, free-range chicken, all you do is supplement the food as organic, certified organic feed, and it's the exact same thing. Chickens raised inside in a grow house, just fed organic feed. So over the last couple years, 3 to 4 years, pasture raised has kind of become the gold standard. And when you say pasture raised, everybody thinks of what we're sitting in right now, these lush green pastures where the chickens can get out and move around, pick, scratch. But to actually be labeled pasture raised, nobody really monitors it. So for us to say pasture raised, we had to submit a picture of grass. Nobody really came and inspected or anything like that. And so these pasture raised chickens that you're seeing are, majority of them raised on just dirt lots. They're outside, but it's just dirt patches. They don't have the grass, they don't have the bugs, the worms. They can't really express the chickenness of the chicken. Express the chickenness of the chicken. And express that chickenness of the chicken we talked about. Essentially, they never get to express the chickenness of a chicken.
I tell you, you're gonna make a t-shirt out of that. So Rob, we're here at a different coop. What's in this coop?
So this coop is our meat bird. It's a different breed. It grows a little bit faster, has a little bit more meat on it, and doesn't produce eggs. Yeah, so these are our meat birds. And again, it's the same exact coop, just no nest boxes. Same thing, move them every single day to fresh pasture, allow them access to the bugs, the worms. You can see them picking through the grass.
Well, I think it's really important for us to remember, like, everything comes from somewhere, and that we are in here and these chickens are destined to be eaten. And so that means that something's got to die so that we can eat. And that's hard to talk about sometimes, but it's really important to know, like, if you eat meat, that you should really look at where does your meat come from, because it makes a big impact, not only on the environment, but the animal, but also your health.
70 years ago, everybody knew where their food came from.
Right.
They knew who their farmer was. They would come out, they would see what was going on. They would buy a chunk of the cow. They wouldn't buy individual steaks, but everybody knew how their food was raised and where it was coming from.
Right.
And then as we went into the Industrial Revolution and factory farming, everybody's kind of lost touch of that. But to really understand how your food's raised, you got to get back to the roots and come out to the farm.
So we're hanging out in the pasture, and they have the one token dairy cow, but then we have all these beautiful lambs. She's eating my shirt. Yes, that's good. So What do you do with these guys?
So these are our Dorper breed sheep, and essentially the reason we have them is for meat.
So I think a lot of people in the States probably have never had lamb or sheep before. Like, how would you describe, what would be a good example?
If you're comparing it to like a conventional beef, it's not near as greasy, it's a little leaner. The flavor is just outstanding, but it does have a little bit of a gamey taste, not overwhelming by any means though.
Well, so can people come and visit, like how I'm visiting?
Absolutely. So we have an open door policy. We try to do farm tours once to twice a month. We actively invite people to come out, see the way we raise chickens.
So we're hanging out with some seriously cute parts of the farm here. So who do we have here?
This is Max.
Max, and what kind of breed of dog is Max?
So Max is an Anatolian Shepherd mixed with a Great Pyrenees. Both breeds have been livestock guardian dogs for thousands of years. So essentially they are the protection. They protect from the bobcats, the coyotes, the overhead predators.
So the dogs patrol at night, keep the coyotes out, keep the bobcats out, keep the rodents at bay too, like they're hunting the rodents out there, keeping...
Absolutely.
So you guys don't really have a loss of your animals because of these guys?
Yeah, so when we first started, we had about 100 sheep and we had about 600 chickens, and we were losing almost about 80% before we realized that we needed dogs.
Wow.
And so we were losing 15 chickens a day and like 1 or 2 sheep a day to predators. And as soon as we got these dogs, we haven't had a single loss to predators since.
Wow. Well, good job, Max. And then the other animal that we're hanging out with are these guys. And I mean, these are like, if an Ewok and a pig had a baby, this is what it would look like. What kind of pig is this?
So this is a Kuni, and it's actually native to New Zealand. We work with the breeder who actually brought them to the US here, and they're a very unique breed, and the reason we like them so much is because they can actually get all their nutrition from grazing.
Okay.
So if you look around, we're in pretty thick grass here. That's what they eat. They move around, they eat the grass. One of the things you worry about with pigs when you're trying to raise pasture is they like to root and dig holes.
Right.
But they have a shorter nose that tilts up, and so it doesn't really let them root into the ground. So they're actually great for the pasture. They can live only on grass, and they produce some of the most flavorful meat we've ever had.
What's the noise he makes? So Rob, you guys do something a little bit different, that there's sustainable agriculture, but you guys really go to the next level. What does that mean?
Yeah, so sustainable agriculture has always kind of been like treading water to us. We want to do something that makes the land better. And so what we consider it is regenerative agriculture. And we do that by mimicking what nature does. So we run our cows and our sheep ahead of the chickens, and then we pull the chickens behind them, and then the pig come in as the cleanup crew. And by doing that and then letting the land rest, you allow that soil and that grass to really, really mature and become healthier and stronger and a much better product for the birds to eat. And it's not just our animals that benefit. If you come out and see the farm, you'll see the amount of wildlife out here, the amount of ladybugs and bugs and different species of grass that are growing. We've actually always considered ourselves grass farmers first.
I did notice on that in the logo, it's not
yeah.
the animal, it's grass.
And that's where it all starts. And to really have the healthiest animals, you have to start from the ground up.
Well, we had such a fun day hanging out with Rob and all the animals here at Primal Pastures. It was really exciting to learn about really the way that animals should be raised, the impact that it makes on the environment, the impact that it makes on your health, and just that it's better for the animals. I hope you really enjoyed this episode of Joy Bus Journeys, and you'll check us out again.
So one of the unique things about our sheep is 90% of these, I would say, have never been touched by a human hand.
Okay.
We leave them to do...
Oh, thanks, Mabel. Sweet.
That's what.
I hope that's not what she thinks of the show, right there. I'm so grateful for you guys having us to come out and hang out with your animals and to hear your story and so much. And I hope you guys would check out primalpastures.com and see what they're doing. Order some eggs or some meat from these guys, and just really enjoy what it's like to eat really good, healthy food. Hey, if you guys liked this episode, do me a favor. Would you like it? Subscribe, share it with your friends, and think about supporting us on Patreon.